Eddie Gardner, it is an absolute pleasure to sit down with you because you make a gigantic impact in our community, but you do it so quietly, and I've heard so many good things about you through the community as a Native court worker, and I really think hearing from people like yourself is really important, especially in times like these, but all the time. And so I'm hoping you can do a brief introduction, and perhaps we could start with the drum.
Sure, my pleasure. Got this drum, Darren Charlie from Chehalis, he made this drum, and he knew that I was defending wild salmon, and he wanted to sell it for $1,200, but he sold it to me for $550. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful.
It is. Beautiful
drum. So I'll sing the salmon song to honor our salmon. We consider our relatives. Osia. We're never going to stop learning, and then we go to the elder stage, and the elders, the teaching from the north is the teaching of generosity. You know, we need to learn to be generous. You know, with what we've experienced through our life. If we've lived a long, good life, we've learned a lot, and so it's important to pass on to the next generation, you know, what we've inherited from our lineage, our great lineage, into the past, and because we carried the values, because we carried the strong belief systems and spiritual practices, we can teach the young ones that are coming from behind, so that they can learn those lessons in a way that they won't have to suffer so much, because there's lessons that we can pick up, you know, by the wisdom of the elders, and then there's the lessons we get through the hard knocks. So the elders are kind to try to guide us and steer us away from some of the pitfalls that we have sometimes. We weren't even considered as human beings, you know. But that dark period is the worst seems to be over. But there's a whole lot of healing that needs to take place, you know, to have that right relationship that is built, that needs to be established. And the right relationship needs to have that understanding of that rich cultural heritage that we have, these laws that we follow, these principles and these values that we've embraced, you know, for thousands and thousands of years, are just as relevant today, you know, as they were thousands of years ago. So when we look at the world and how things have spun out of control, we can see that science and technology has taken us down a materialistic path. And that materialistic path has gotten us into an awful lot of trouble.
This is a very difficult conversation, but I think you're probably one of the best people to ask about this because it's such a difficult question. You talk about divisiveness with the discovery of the 215 lost children. How does other people's religions fit in?
The Cohen Commission was on, and it was studying the collapse of wild salmon that took place in 2009, and that raised a big, huge concern to everybody about whether or not wild salmon was facing extinction or not. And so, having participated in wild salmon ceremonies and learning our relationship to the salmon, I really took that to heart, and I thought, I'm not going to be backwards about this. You know, we consider ourselves as salmon people, just like First Nations all across the coast and up the river. You know, we all consider Indigenous people, living by these waterways, consider ourselves as salmon people. So I carry that responsibility seriously to watch over and protect our salmon. It's the most meaningful thing that you can give to a human being is paying good attention to them.
I couldn't agree more. That's really what this podcast is about, is being able to give the space for someone to actually share their stories in a full way. And I just recently lost my grandmother, Dorothy Kennett, and she took my mum in from Kokalitsa. She was a nurse there, and she took her in and raised her as part of her family, even though they weren't biologically related. And with COVID, I didn't get to spend as much time as I would have liked, because for me, over these past few years, I feel like I've really gotten to wake up and start to see my role in all of this. In Chilliwack, in the Fraser Valley, in BC, and start to want to work towards that. And one of my biggest regrets is not being able to share this with her and get her feedback. And so the only way I am able to carry forward is knowing that my grandmother, Rita Pete, she faced Indian residential school, and I cannot imagine the endurance you had to have to go through those experiences and choose to have children after that. And then my mother, who has a disability, and her willingness to carry on and take parenting classes and to want to do better for me, and seeing my grandmother, Dorothy Kennett, who took my mother in and was willing to do that and then to help raise me. I feel this immense responsibility to them, this to carry on their legacy, to carry on this willingness to endure probably hell and try and pass better messages forward, and to try and move forward despite all of the atrocities and all of the horrendous ways they were treated, to try and do better based on them putting me on better footing. Because with my undergraduate degree, and now I'm the first in my Indigenous community, Chihuahua, to get a law degree, or at least be working towards that, I feel this this opportunity to continue to represent these people who played such a pivotal role in my life, and to know that they made sacrifices so I could be where I am today. And so it's humbling, and it's exactly what you said. It's a purpose. It's somewhere where, even though people don't know the work that goes in behind the scenes to put this together, that I know it's all worth it, because I get to continue on with what these people before me carried, and now it's my turn to carry the water forward and to try and help everybody move forward in a better direction. And one of the ways I see that is bringing awareness and light to you, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people who feel they lack knowledge or wisdom or someone to talk to. And so being able to hear from someone like yourself is so important to me, because it's something that I missed out on, and it's something that I know a lot of people miss out on by not knowing how to connect or how to approach or how to send the email. And people fall into this, and then they miss out on everything that we've gotten to talk about so far, and be able to grow from that. And so I really appreciate the value that Indigenous culture puts on elders, because it's also putting weight on history. And that is one thing I think my generation is doing a terrible job of, is really understanding history in its fullest form, in the fact that a lot has occurred in the past and there were a lot of mistakes made. But how do we move forward better from those mistakes and from those atrocities?
You know, what you said is so profound. It's a beautiful. It's so good to hear you speak that way, because that's kind of how we need to be.